Is it working? I think so. Thank you for joining. We're just doing something a little bit different today. We're doing kind of a bipolar check-in, just check in with life and see how you're doing and how you're feeling bipolar wise. I did put a poll in the chat, so please feel free, vote in the poll and we'll talk about it. And in the meantime, while you're doing that, I'll just talk a little bit about me and my channel. So I'm Just Curtis, if you don't know me, and I run this Our Bipolar YouTube channel. I've had it for about 5 years, I think, but I've gotten more serious in the last couple years with posting and creating content nearly every week. So I try to do that. I find that it's good for me, and a lot of people need an outlet, right? Like having bipolar can be isolating and you can feel alone. Oh, hi, Andrea. I see you're here. And yes, so we're doing these live chats about every 2 weeks. And this is a new time at 1 p.m. Eastern. And I guess that's 10 a.m. Pacific. And I don't know all the other time zones, but I think this could be a better time, hopefully, for people outside of the US. So let me know what you think about the new time. But oh, hey, Refuse, glad you're here. And yeah, just everybody vote in the poll. So just a little bit about me. So I have bipolar 1, and I've had a lot of manic episodes, especially earlier on. So I was diagnosed at 19 years old. I'm now 46. So it's been most of my life with bipolar disorder. And I was lucky to be diagnosed pretty early on after I started having episodes. So, yeah, I was diagnosed at 19. I did not have the bipolar under control for about 10 years. I had a lot of mania, some psychosis, and some depression, and not a lot of stability until after I finally found a good doctor and some good meds. And if you're in the place of still kind of struggling to find the right meds or the right treatment or the right doctor, it's really not your fault. I mean, I know for me, like those first 10 years, I tried 4 or 5 different psychiatrists and I was still not getting good treatment. So it's really, it can be a struggle and it can take a while. And I know that better than a lot of people. But in the last, I guess it's been like 18 or so years, I have done much better. And once I got more stable, I was able to, have a stable job, a stable relationship. I'm married, my husband Brian. You guys may have seen on another live or in some videos. And I have a daughter who's 10 years old. And, no one needs to have, no one needs to want any of those things. And I didn't even know I wanted those things until I got more stable. But yeah, that's kind of a little bit about me. And right now, I'll just tell you how I'm feeling. I don't think I can vote in the poll actually, but I'm coming off a mixed episode. It's been a long one. I actually have a video coming out next week about long episodes and just how it feels. And even if it's not all that long, it could be a week and it could feel like it's going to last forever. So I have a video coming out about that because that's how I feel right now. And it has been long. So my mixed episodes started at the beginning of March. It's now April 11th. And my episodes tend to be longer than I think most people's, usually about a month or a little less, but this one is going longer than that. And I'm having some feelings about it. So let me glance at the chat. I'll be looking down at my computer to look at the chat. It's just much easier to look at everything. So far in the poll, I'm gonna leave it up a little longer. It looks like, wow, about half of you are feeling depressed. 38% feeling stable, and about 12% in a mixed episode like me. I would say I'm still in it. I think I'm at the tail end, but I don't feel like myself totally. And that's also kind of frustrating. I think it's better than being fully in it, but it's like, I just want to get back to normal. Like, why is this lasting so long? So, and no one is feeling manic or hypomanic, which, everyone says like, oh, you go into springtime and everyone gets manic or hypomanic. Well, for the 9 people who have voted, that is not the case, and you can feel depressed any time of year. I know that too. I can go into depression or mania any time of year. I mean, yes, I can feel depressed in the winter. That can happen, maybe because of less sunlight, all those things. But yeah, it can happen in the spring too. So I totally get that. Let's see. Stephanie Powell, hi. Nova Nova, Tarun Pandita. I see you have a question. Any suggestions? I am surrounded by negativity. Relatives, they discourage, dismotivate me, speak negative comments to my face. Any advice will be helpful. It's draining my energy. Wow, that is extremely frustrating and such stigma. And that's, a reason a lot of us are now like speaking out and trying to normalize bipolar, because that is so wrong and uncool. And I've been feeling some of that lately as well. My husband is super supportive, a great person, but it's been a long mixed episode for everyone in my household. And my husband is feeling a lot of it as well. Of course, I'm the most uncomfortable with it, but he is definitely feeling it more than some episodes, and not necessarily being super negative, but just very frustrated with me. I don't know. The best thing I feel that loved ones can do, if they're willing to do this, is to educate themselves about the disorder, learn what it is, what it isn't, and that should have them understand that this is not something that you want, that you're trying to, like at times, I know in episodes we maybe don't act the way we want to act, or act the way we would when we're stable. Like we might be, speaking a bit out of pocket at times, or like causing arguments. But it sounds like they're really feeding into this. And all I can say is, if they would like to educate themselves somewhat, or if you're able to educate them gently, I understand that may not be possible. But all I can really say is, try your hardest to not let it get to you, because these people, if they're acting like this, they really don't understand, and they don't know you, and what they're doing has nothing to do with you and what you're going through. And I'm sorry that you're dealing with it, but I'm glad you're here. I think it's good to, have like-minded people around, people who do understand you. Okay. And in the chat, please answer these questions as well, give advice. I don't have all the answers, but I have my own life experience, and that's about it. Nova, do you ever feel stress around losing or running out of medication? I feel medication fatigue quite often, just worrying about taking it on time, making sure I have enough. Sometimes I worry that I'm like, because I take quite a few medications, like bipolar meds, but also other things that are like, some are bipolar adjacent, I call them. And then some things that are just for my, other health problems. But I do kind of worry about it. And I use like an app on my phone for my pharmacy to try to keep up with it. But sometimes, like, maybe I'm going on a trip and I'm like not following closely enough that I'm going to have enough. And so like at the last second, I have to go to the pharmacy or something like that. So I can get a little stressed about that. I don't really worry about taking it on time because it's such a routine. Like I would suggest, like I take it right before bed, my bipolar meds, like all of them. And it's just like such a routine. I go in the room for bed. That's the first thing I do, is take my meds. So for me, it sort of like works well, but I would definitely encourage you to like have some sort of alarm if you need it, like an alarm on your phone that just goes off every day at the same time that you need to take your meds. That could work. Okay. And if you're just joining, we're just chatting about life and bipolar, like anything goes. I have bipolar 1. And if you're here, please like the live, because that YouTube will then bring more people in. And also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, why not, right? You could give me a little subscribe. That would be great. Okay, Refuse 202 says, Lithium question. Do you think it's less change for side effects like the kidneys the less you take? Yes. So if you're on 240 milligrams a day compared to 600, or doesn't it matter how much you take as long as you're taking it? It does matter how much you take for lithium and for the effect on the kidneys. Now, not everyone has or will have kidney dysfunction from lithium. It's not like across the board. I mean, it does happen. It happens to a lot of people. It happened to me, but it can be caught early, and you can make changes and do well with it. Like, I have some more minor kidney dysfunction. I don't notice anything. Like, if I hadn't gotten lab work done, I wouldn't even know that I had any dysfunction. But it does matter how much you take. So whenever my levels started to show I was having this kidney dysfunction, I was on 750 and I went down to 600 because I had done well in 600 in the past. I just had upped it. I don't know. I was like going on a big vacation. Like, I went to Europe like a million years ago, and my doctor agreed to up it because I was nervous. Which if I had known that like it could affect the kidneys less on a smaller dose, I might not have done that. But so we went to 600 and now I'm down to 450. It does make a difference how much. So if you can do well, and if your lithium level can stay within range on a lower dose, then it is better to be on a lower dose, but you need to do what's best for your bipolar above all. That's what I would always say. Plus, I take like a small dose of Seroquel on top of it to sort of help the lithium, and because I'm so prone to mania, and having that antipsychotic, even a little bit of the antipsychotic does help a lot. It helps me with sleep and can help with anxiety and other things. Okay, Andrea. Do you ever feel sometimes as if you gaslight yourself and feel as if a current episode can't really be this bad? Maybe it's just being unnecessary, as if I can't really trust myself or my mood. Yeah, definitely. I think I'm doing that right now. And I've been doing that during this episode. I just keep kind of thinking like, why am I so upset about this? This could be so much worse. Like, I'm not having psychosis. I'm not having full-blown mania. Like, yeah, I'm in a mixed episode and I'm impaired, obviously, and I'm having trouble at work and I can't concentrate as well. And my mind's racing and I'm super irritable, like feeling like I'm the worst person on earth at times because I'm just so irritable about any tiny little thing. But then I'm like, but it's really not that bad, right? Because I'm not having severe symptoms. Like, I don't need to be hospitalized. I don't need, so why am I complaining so much? And why am I like acting like this is so bad? But it's like whatever you're dealing with is what you're dealing with. And I think it's fair to be like, this is what it is, and this sucks, and this isn't like the suffering Olympics. Like, other people may have it worse. You're comparing yourself to yourself. Like, I should be comparing myself to when I'm stable. Like, this is harder than when I'm stable. This is worse. And I do feel like I'm not doing as well in all aspects of my life, like being a friend. Andrea, as you've seen, I'm not as good of a friend right now. Um, and I know you would probably refute that, but I'm not, I'm not as present. I'm not able to respond as often. I'm not as good of a wife. I'm not as good as a mom. I'm just, I can't be fully there because I have these things holding me back. And compared to when I'm stable, like, I don't think I'm being unnecessary when I truly allow myself, to look at myself. Let's see. Okay, Nova said, I take a small dose of quetiapine, 75 milligrams, but I'm struggling with the increased appetite. Oh my God, yes. Do you experience any side effects from quetiapine? That is the major one I experience, is increased appetite. I can go up, like, when I was having this mixed episode, so mixed hypomania, I went up on my dose by what, like 25 milligrams or less? And I went from like not having any issue, like feeling like normal appetite, to like suddenly I'm like Cookie Monster, or like something like that. Like I was just eating everything in sight, and like I suddenly went from the things I usually eat and enjoy, which are more healthy, like more fruits and vegetables, protein, all those kind of things that would be good for me, to wanting the opposite, like wanting all the sweets and all the carbs and like all of it. And it is so hard to resist. And I think it's worth noting that when you're like that, it's not a matter of resisting, and it's not a matter, like, this is something that is happening inside your body. And I'm still feeling this way. It's not as bad because I have started to come down. I'm not back to my usual dose of quetiapine, or Seroquel is the other name. um so I'm still feeling it, but it is not as severe. So that's my big, yeah. I mean, sometimes too, when I have to increase my dose, I'll feel really tired, and like also throughout the day. I mean, the reason we're increasing it usually is also, to combat the hypomania or mania, but also just to get sleep going and the sleep to be more regular. But whew, it's a struggle, and I won't lie. Like, at least for me, like when I'm having that increased appetite, food tastes better. Like, it just does. Like, I know when I was on spring break with my family, we just went up to this lake nearby and stayed in a cabin, and there's this restaurant up there that is amazing. And it was like so enjoyable, more than like any regular meal when I'm feeling stable. And it was like, wow, I could understand how I could like really get unhealthy like this. So it is a struggle. I mean, if you're, I don't know what exactly to do, because it's just a side effect of quetiapine. If you think you're able to take a lower dose, it may help, because when I take my usual dose, which is pretty low, but for me, I don't have the increased appetite on that smaller dose. So it might be worth talking with your psychiatrist. I mean, it's going to be very individual. Oh, and I don't know why this happens, but my ceiling fan just started like going on like super high. Like, I don't know. It's not a ghost. I don't know what is happening. Okay, sorry. Lizzie Warren, music artist. I don't think I know you, so welcome to the channel. In a mixed episode, do you find you may be crying for a second and then fine? Or do you feel sadness inside but have just been laughing? I've dealt with this over the last year, mainly myself. I don't really feel like that. I mean, other people in the chat, please chime in. In a mixed episode, for me, I'm not a big crier. I'm a big like anger and rage and, irritability kind of person, which, has its own problems. But I don't usually go from feeling like either irritable or angry to fine. Like I'm just pretty much irritable and angry all the time. So, but I do sometimes start feeling sad, like start feeling sad inside, but I don't think I like, I don't think I have the type of mixed episode where it's like one thing and then the other. It's more like consistently of everything. So I'm having like the higher energy and the racing thoughts and, lack of focus and like a song stuck in my head and all these things. But then I'm feeling super irritable and then sad at times. But it's kind of like all at the same time. It's not like up and down with like sadness, laughing, and things like that. But I do think other people have had that experience. So please chime in the chat. Okay, Renee. I've been on 300 milligrams of Seroquel for a few years. And I'm ravenous around 10 p.m. every night. I hate to eat late, but I can't help it. Yeah. And what I didn't mention when I was responding to that other question about Seroquel is at night is the worst for me as well. And it's like, I can sort of get through the day sometimes. And I'm like, okay, I feel decent about how I've handled today. Like food wise, like I feel like I did pretty well, pretty healthy. And then like right before bed, like 10 p.m. hits and I'm just like starving somehow. And I'm just like eating anything, like anything. What if it's there, I'm going to eat it. So yeah, and I'm always like, why? Like it would be better if I did this earlier in the day, but it's like I can't control the timing of it. So I totally get that. Okay, Lizzie Warren says, I have a history of hypomania, but I've been on the more mixed hypomania over the last year, more irritability. I used to have the pure hypomania. Yeah, I was the exact same way. So when I started out, the first, like I said, like 9-10 years, I had a lot of mania. I didn't have hypomania back then. Like I had full mania always, sometimes psychosis. And it was just like, yeah, it was euphoric hypomania, like pure hypomania, or sorry, mania. And which people were like, oh, then it's really fun, right? And it's like, no, not, I mean, it wasn't for me. Like maybe everyone has a different experience, right? We all have a range of experiences, but I I would have like delusions that were not fun, like things about like the devil and like scary things, and just weird things. So it was never really that fun. Maybe the beginning parts where I was like more social because I'm big time introvert, or like feeling more confident in the beginning and things like that. But then it always got really not fun. But and then I also went mixed, like almost exclusively, after I got on Lithium, which was like about 18 years ago. So like at the end of that 10 years, then it just switched to mixed episodes pretty much. And yeah, that's obviously not fun either. So I don't know. I don't know why that is though. Does anyone know why some of us switch from having like the euphoric hypomania to the dysphoric? And if it could be a medication thing? I think I've asked this in another live. Because for me, it seemed to be about the same time that I got on Lithium, but I don't know if that was why. I don't know. Oh, Jenny, CCM, hey, I'm glad you're here. You said you're on Lithium, Lamictal, and you just started Abilify. I've never taken Abilify. I might, well, I probably will go on Lamictal pretty soon, depending on if I have to like lower my lithium again, because at some point it's just not going to be enough lithium. So let me know how you guys like Lamictal, especially if you have bipolar 1 like Jenny, because I've heard that Lamictal tends to be better for like the bipolar depression and like more like bipolar 2. So, but I've heard people do well on it with bipolar 1. So maybe you could let me know, because that's something that I'm definitely worried about and going through. Okay, Andrea. Let me take a sip. How do you handle when neurotypical people use the person must be bipolar as a descriptive factor? Personally makes me frustrated and annoyed, but I'll try and respond with humor. I've never heard a person say that in front of me, but it's probably because pretty much everyone knows I have bipolar. But I've heard it like, I've heard, well, I've only heard it like on TV, or like there's a YouTube channel, like it's my favorite YouTube channel. I'm not going to say which one. It's not a channel. It's not a mental health channel, but on a live, they were describing something and they said like, oh, I think everyone on that TV show must be bipolar. And I was just thinking, oh, that's really sucks, because I love this channel. And like the fact that she said that, I was like, oh, like, why did you have to go there? And I know that what I usually try to do when I hear that, even if, you know, it's not if it was in person, I, I'm like such a, it's not good, but I'm pretty confrontational. And I think I would probably say something, maybe not in like maybe not, yeah, like maybe in a humorous kind of way, but I think I would probably be like, yeah, that's, you know, not really what bipolar is, and sort of like give a quick description and try to use it as like a moment to educate. But it would depend on the person, of course. And when I do hear people like on TV, or like I said on the YouTube channel, say things like that, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt that they probably are pretty uneducated about bipolar. But it's such a bummer. I don't know. I'm sorry. It sounds like you've heard that more than once, Andrea. I don't, I don't, I don't like to hear that. Okay. I may have missed. Oh, and if you're on here, well, I told Moss, I made her a moderator, and I don't see Molly Ann, but I have made her a moderator in case she wants to, but no pressure. Retro River Walker. Hi, I don't think I know you. I'm glad you're here though. Just scrolling through streams. Your hair is so beautiful. Thank you. It's like one of the things I don't have to think about much, which I love that with having bipolar. I'm not prescribed anything. I'm currently over 2 years clean of alcohol and weed, but lately life has been testing my sobriety. I totally get that. I'm also, I don't use alcohol or weed anymore. I haven't smoked weed in I don't even know how long, but like I'm about 3.5 years clean of alcohol. I just decided, like, why am I doing this? I didn't really have an issue though, but it was more like I felt like shit every time I drank, even if it was one drink, and it would mess up my sleep and possibly cause an episode. And I'm like, no. So, you know, but that's a personal choice, of course. But yeah, like life testing your sobriety, I totally get that. So, I mean, do you think it might be time to see a psychiatrist and possibly look into being prescribed meds? I mean, I'm wondering if that could be a way to keep your sobriety going. I don't know. I don't know what your needs are. Or it could just be like finding ways to reduce stress. Like I've gotten back into exercise. I sort of fell out with this episode lately, which is fine. You know, it had to happen. But I've gotten back in, and I do feel like it is a way that I can keep stable, reduce stress, also just like other things like having alone time, having time to myself. um, doing things with people I love, like different things, getting outside, getting in nature. I know, like I hate sometimes I hate saying that because it's like going outside in nature, like going in the sunshine is not going to cure your bipolar or like get rid of all your symptoms or anything, but it does help some. It does. At least it helps me. Okay. Daniel Ozark. I'm feeling dull. I feel it's hard to care about things. I think it has something to do with antipsychotic. I'm going to talk to my doctor soon about it. That sounds like a great idea. For a second, I was thinking, like, oh, are you getting depressed? But if it's like a dull feeling, that can definitely happen if the antipsychotic is either, like too strong or maybe not the right one or something can feel off with that. And that I've had that happen with the Seroquel when I was at like a higher dose for too long because, there's no science about this. They're like, well, take this higher dose and take it for a while and then go down. But like, you don't really know exactly the right time. And I've definitely gone through that. So yeah, please talk to your doctor and see what they say. Okay. Elena's back. I don't think I know you either, so welcome to welcome to Alive. When was your first time finally be able to discover you are stable? And when did you learn about a mixed episode? What does that feel like? Um, gosh, it's been so long since I was diagnosed. Those first 10 years, it was hard to like grasp onto stability, like to know when I was stable. So I think it was really when I was able to have like a longer period of stability once I got on better meds. So, and that really took me like I said, like 9 or 10 years. So once, because it's hard if you could you can become stable, and if it's for like a week, it doesn't feel like it's hard to even notice like, oh, this is, because then suddenly something else is happening. So I would say it was really when I got on better meds, and that took me a long time. But I don't want people to not have hope because I think things are so different nowadays. Like when I was diagnosed, there was no social media. No one was talking about this. I didn't know anyone else with bipolar for those like first 10 years. And once I started talking online, I started not meeting, but like people in person who I knew were like coming out to me, like privately that they also had bipolar. So there are a lot of us, but if you don't have the ability to sometimes talk to other people with bipolar, it's like maybe you don't know exactly what you're going through at times, or at least that's what I found, and I've just learned more from other people. Um, and then, well, when I started having a mixed episode, to me, it was very obvious that this was something totally different from mania and depression. For me, I talked about this a little bit before, and it's hard to encompass everything, but for me, it's really like the lack of sleep begins. And just like for a regular, like a hypomanic or manic episode, I start losing sleep and it goes on for several days in a row. And then I'm having the racing thoughts, and it's very difficult for me to like grasp a thought before it's gone and like just keeps going in a cycle. I usually have a song stuck in my head over and over to the point where it's super frustrating and annoying, and it makes it hard to focus on anything along with the racing thoughts. And so I will have extreme difficulties working, getting anything done because my mind is just all over the place. And then because it's the mixed episode, some people feel more depressed. They're having this high energy and hard for me to sit still, like talking more, wanting to talk on the phone all the time or text people or like make plans, like be very social when I'm not typically all that social. Also, like I said, the extreme irritability. Some people have more like sadness, crying. I have more irritability to the point where like it could become rage. Maybe it'll just be anger, but like I'm very, very irritable over any little thing. So that's how it feels to me, but it's going to be a little different for everyone. So please chime in if you want to talk about your symptoms with a mixed episode. Okay, Jenny is saying Lamictal has been the one stable medication she's been on. Never had any side effects. Yeah, I do hear it's really good with the lack of side effects. Ern says, I'm an allergy from Lamictal. And I've heard, yeah, you have to be very careful titrating up on Lamictal is what I've been told, because of Stevens-Johnson syndrome, which is like a skin, like you can have like blisters, and I know someone who's experienced that. I don't think from Lamictal, but it can be very serious. So that you do have to be very careful in titrating up, and it takes weeks, I believe, to titrate up. Okay. There's so many new people here, which is so exciting, but I love like so many people who, you know, are on all the time too. So thank you all for coming. Key stretch. When you had your first mix episode, did you instantly know what you were experiencing? And if not, how did you eventually put a name to the symptoms? I don't know. That was like almost 20 years ago. So I'm trying to think. I think what happened was, so this was after, so I had just started with the psychiatrist that I still have now. And I think when it happened, I had an appointment with him and I was explaining like, I feel manic or like hypomanic, manic, but I'm also feeling so irritable and angry at times. And like I said, the rage, and I'm trying to like hold all this in because I don't want to treat people I love really poorly, but I am still doing it at times and treating myself poorly. And I think he explained that I was having a mixed episode, I think. And because I didn't know what it was either, like I was just like, this is weird because I feel like I'm in mania, but it's definitely not mania like I'm used to. Like it's something else. And it's it's one of those things that's like so it's really disturbing for me, and it still is. For me, not as disturbing as depression. That for me is the most disturbing because I'm just feeling like a total absence of anything, which is really weird. Usually, you know, in bipolar 1, like you're used to feeling like extreme emotions at times with these episodes. And to me, depression is just like an utter lack of any emotion. And when I'm depressed is when I can feel like the SI. I'll try not to say the S word, but because YouTube doesn't like that. But yeah, so that's what happened, is that my psychiatrist named it for me, that I was in a mixed episode. Yeah, Andrea is saying, talking about if someone says like, oh, that person's so bipolar or whatever. She said she'll do the same with regard to education, but it does depend on the context. I don't always put in that much effort. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, it depends on the person. It also depends on the day and how I'm feeling. Like, do I want to get into it? Like, I'm sorry, like, I know that I do advocacy work with bipolar, and like, I should be the person who's explaining all this all the time, but sometimes, like, you know, I have other things going on in my life. Like, I have other problems or stress, and like, Andrea, I know you understand, like, we're not always going to be like feeling on that day to be like, oh no, this is kind of what it is, like maybe you shouldn't say that, you know, it's stigmatizing, things like that. It just for me depends on how I'm feeling, what's going on in my life, the day. And that goes for a lot of things, you know, even if they're not saying bipolar like as a slur or something. Okay, Nova says, do you have any book recommendations for more info on bipolar? I do, but I'm also more of a person who likes to watch YouTube videos and like read on the internet. So I don't have like a ton of them, but I do. I think if you want like just plain like information, I think Taking Charge of Bipolar Disorder is good. I think I have it. I have it right here. It's Julie Fast. Sorry for the glare. That's a good book. I have, I don't know if I can get this back in here. This book I bought for my husband. I don't think he ever read it. Just being honest, but I've heard it's good. Loving Someone with Bipolar Disorder. So, you know, obviously this is for like friends or family. I've actually heard a little bit of mixed reviews on that book, but I think it can be a good option. Now, I've also, like, Kay Redfield Jamison, she has put out a bunch of books. She is, I believe, a psychologist. So she has a PhD and she works like kind of at the forefront of bipolar research, but she also has Bipolar 1. I find her a very good resource. Her book, oh God, someone can put it in the chat, her different book titles. I also have issues with word recall because of Lithium. I've been on Lithium a long time. I'm trying to think what, one of her books is called Touched with Fire. But the one I just read or reread, I can't think of the name right now, but someone in the chat put in her most popular books. But just look up her name, Kay Redfield Jamison, and she has great books that are like more like a memoir. So like stories of her life. I really like those. Hi, Kelsey. Glad you made it. I know it's early on the West Coast a little bit. Okay, Steve, I think you're new here too, so hey, Steve. I'm not bipolar, just listening and learning. Love that. It seems like you're always thinking about what you've been thinking and how you've come to any conclusions. Is that the case? Yeah. I mean, and I know a lot of my friends with bipolar, like we talk about this, we're always analyzing and at times like over analyzing probably how we're feeling, what we're thinking about, because we're always trying to look for clues if a bipolar episode is coming. Sometimes, you know, sometimes you might just wake up and you have a lot of energy and you're feeling good and you're like, this is awesome. And then you're like, wait a minute, am I going hypomanic? Like, and then you have to like assess all the other areas of your life. Like, well, how is my sleep? How am I, you know, how's my nutrition? How am I eating? Is there a change in that? Like, just trying to figure out it, like being a detective, truly. And I think that can help keep you stable. If you can catch something soon, you can catch it in the very early stages. Sometimes you won't fully go into an episode, at least for like mania and hypomania or a mixed episode. Depression, I find much more difficult to catch. If I start to feel like a little sad and I'm noticing it's becoming a trend, I can try, you know, I can try to kind of like be a little more social, talk to people more, just feel more connected, get out in sunshine, get more exercise, things like that. But sometimes it's like really hard for me to catch. And then like if you go into depression, it's not a matter of like in mania, like, oh, take more antipsychotics and you know, you're still in the episode and it's going to take a while to come down. But like depression, like I have bipolar 1, like I can't just take a antidepressant because that could push me into mania. So I am always trying to, yes, Thank you, Andrea. An Unquiet Mind. That's the book by Kay Redfield Jamison I was referring to. I was never gonna like pluck that one. Like that was never coming back. That's my favorite. It's also like I like to recommend Kay Redfield Jamison, but also it can be a little intimidating because she's obviously like she is bipolar 1, but she was able to like get her PhD and like do all this research and things. And I do sometimes feel like a little bit of intimidation by someone who like was able to have that kind of like career and have bipolar and write all these books and like but if you try to put that aside a little bit, I think it is really relatable. Okay, Lizzie Warren says, I am only on a mood stabilizer because of focal epilepsy. However, with pre-existing bipolar, it's worked better for mental health than epilepsy. Yeah, I've wondered about that because I know that Lamictal can be an anti-epileptic. Is that how you say it? Sorry if I'm messing that up. I know Depakote is the same, like an anticonvulsant. I did really poorly on Depakote, and that some people may do really well on it. That is just a personal thing, but that does make me worry that I'm not going to do well on Lamictal. But I don't know. I'm not a doctor, obviously. Well, maybe it's not obvious, but I'm definitely not a doctor. Just so you know. Yes. Don Woodland said bipolar can come into your life and it hits like a tornado. Yeah, that's what happened to me. I mean, if you guys have watched I have this one video that's like been like my biggest video, and it's called My First Full-Blown Manic Episode, and I can link it in the description. But yeah, it just started, you know, as a sophomore in college, and it was like trying to take out everything. I mean, it truly was like a tornado. And my life is, you know, it's never been the same, but I'd like to think that I was able to kind of like pivot and do something else, you know, because I was never, I wanted to be a doctor, I wanted to be a psychiatrist, funnily enough, and that didn't happen, and mostly because of bipolar. But you know, I pivoted and I was able to do something else. I'm a journal editor, but like that's, you know, it's not just about career. It was like I had to fight for my life back, and it took a long time. And I hope that's not discouraging that it took so long for me to become more stable, like 10 years, because I know for a lot of people, they can, you know, get on good meds more quickly and kind of get their life going again. But also, like, you know, just because it does take you a long time doesn't mean it's not going to happen. And I think we can't give up. We just have to keep trying. And I think that's with anything, right? Latoya Jackson. Is this the real Latoya? Either way is fine. She said, are you a mother? I am. I have a 10-year-old daughter. She's the biggest joy of my life. And I was not one of those people that like always wanted to be a mother. I just, once I met my husband, it became something I wanted to do. And, you know, it's controversial for some people, like to have children and having bipolar. And I always hear from people like, oh, I wasn't diagnosed until after I had my kids. Like, oh, you're okay because you didn't do it knowingly. But I did it knowingly. And I do not have any regrets. But I do think being a parent is a huge undertaking. It changes your entire life forever. And it is naturally very stressful and also very joyful, but can be very stressful because it just is. So you have to really make sure you're ready for it, like bipolar or not, but definitely if you have bipolar. Okay, let me take a drink. Okay, Lizzie Warren said, the irritability is awful because even being talked to can be irritating. Yes, like anything. It's as though everything boils. Can you relate? Yes. Yes, that's a good way of saying it. Everything boils. I feel like my blood is boiling when I'm having a mixed episode. Like everything starts to become annoying. Like I noticed, I don't really notice usually like people, like the whole chewing thing. Like people have um issues with that just on a regular basis, but like I don't usually, but like hearing my husband chewing at dinner or my daughter, I'm just like, oh my God, like I cannot handle it. And what I tend to do as much as I can is like, I want to still be around people, but I also don't want to like bite their heads off and be acting just so irritable and rude, and like they don't deserve it. They're not even doing anything wrong. So I will try to take more time alone, time to myself, because that's the only way I can fully control me not treating them badly. Because I and it's like I'm gonna feel like this while I'm having the mixed episode, and like I can't really control that, but I can try to limit how much I harm other people. And like having a more calm environment with less stimulation can also help me get out of the episode quicker, maybe, right? Okay, so people are talking more about lamictal, lamotrigine, I think is the what generic name. Um, Don Woodland said, are you also aware of narcissists? They can be attracted to bipolar people. I don't know anything about that, to be honest. um, I, yeah, I just can't comment on it, but maybe someone else could comment on that. Lizzie Warren, do you get an internal buildup of anger that can quickly change? Yeah. During a mixed episode, yes. Like I was describing in this video I put out like a few weeks ago, or at the beginning of March probably. I was, and this is just like one stupid example, but like I was opening a box, like it was a box of coffee pods, which I do, you know, all the time. And as I was opening it, like I tore the one side, which like who cares, right? Like it doesn't matter, but I like felt like I was going to explode at myself for like not opening the box properly. Like I had to do everything I could not to just like scream and like throw something and like punch something or someone. Like I was just so angry. But then I was able to be like, okay, like this is not that big. Like try to like calm myself down, try to like talk myself down. And then pretty quickly, I mean, I was still irritable because I was just irritable all the time then, but that huge buildup of like anger and rage went away pretty quickly. So yeah, it could be over something like very small, but I was just like so mad at myself for not doing everything like perfect or the way I normally would. And it's like, so I just try to like give myself a break in those situations, but at the same time I'm like still simmering and angry under the surface. It's just a mixed episode for me. Is That's just how it is. Okay. I'm just, hopefully I'm not missing questions, but I know you're talking to each other too, which I love. It's like my favorite thing. And oh my gosh, it's almost 2 o'clock. So we're like winding down anyway a little. Okay, this is definitely a question for me. Nova said, were you pregnant on meds? Were there meds that were not advisable to be on while pregnant? Quetiapine. Okay, so I was pregnant like 11 years ago. So it could be different now. I'm just saying that up front. But I did take meds. I took lithium when I was pregnant, and that can be controversial because there is an increased risk of a heart defect if you take lithium. I've been told it does not matter the dose, and this defect happens at conception. So you have to be off the lithium before you get pregnant. So you get pregnant and then you're like, I'll go off the lithium. It doesn't matter, supposedly. This is what my doctor told me. So I wanted to go off meds because I thought that would be the safest thing for the baby. And my doctor very much disagreed, and he wanted me to stay on the lithium. So the thing is with the lithium, from what I've been told, this chance of the heart defect is very much overblown, and like some doctors don't know this. I know you're just talking about meds in general, but I only have experience with the lithium, and I'll talk about quetiapine a little bit. So there is an increased chance of this heart defect, but it's a much lower chance than what was originally thought, and it is slightly higher than in the regular population. But my doctor was explaining how there was a much higher chance of the baby having birth defects if I went off medication, because I have never done well in other meds, and if I start cycling mania and depression or going into mania, then there was a higher risk of birth defects, other birth defects. So I stayed on. Now, quetiapine, I wasn't taking that daily at that time. So I never really needed it during the pregnancy. So what I was told back then, which could be different, is that the quetiapine, there wasn't that much research in pregnant women. So they couldn't really say for sure that you can't take it or you can. It was sort of up in the air, it sounded to me. But some doctors were saying, oh, you can take quetiapine, but truly it was because there was no research against it or for it, really. So I didn't take it, but I did take lithium, which, like I said, people think you shouldn't take, but in my case, I took it. My daughter was healthy. There was no heart defect. There were no other birth defects, and yeah, she was good. And I usually do get a question about, pregnancy, and people are asking me for a video, and I have done some videos that have to do with being a parent or, having to do with my daughter a little bit, but I do try to shy away from that a bit, just because I'm trying to protect my daughter's privacy. And someday she may watch these videos, but maybe I'll do a video on pregnancy sometime. See if there's any last questions I can answer. The polar opposite. Hi, Dan. All right, well, I think we'll wrap things up. I don't see any other questions from you. I'll do one last look at the poll. It looks like still majority are feeling depressed, 46%, 37% stable. I'm happy for you. I think I'm almost there. I'm just still feeling a little heightened. I can have these long episodes. 12% mixed episode. I would be in that category, and then 5% manic or hypomanic. So no matter how you're feeling, it's good to come and talk to people who understand. And also, if you don't have bipolar disorder, but friends or family do, I think it's really good to have an outlet as well. I mean, you know, it's not easy having bipolar, but it's not easy having a friend or a family member who has it. And, I feel for those people because I have bipolar, and I know I've put my friends and family through some things, and it can be difficult. But there can also be really good things about it, and there's a lot of love. And I feel like all the people I know who have bipolar are, I can't say this across the board, of course, but like I've met some really good people, really empathetic people, people who actually care about their friends and are just maybe like feel their emotions deeply. And like I think that's a good thing. I think it's a great thing. Even when they're stable, they're like very deep feeling people. And I like being a deep feeling person. I like all that. So I will sign off. Hope you enjoyed this, and we'll be doing this again in just a couple weeks. All right. See you soon. Bye.